The MACPro Help Desk team welcomes your suggestions for our training and reference materials. Please contact us with your feedback and comments on this training, or if you need other MACPro assistance. You may contact us via email at macpro_helpdesk@cms.hhs.gov or by phone at 301-547-4688.
So during review, CMS may need to send the state a request for clarification on the state's submission package. This occurs during the review process for official submissions only, and it sends the package back to the state. Do note, though, that this does not stop the 90-day clock. Some of the reasons for clarification may include CMS needing additional information on a reviewable unit or pointing out a minor revision. The SPOC is notified of the clarification through email, like the image on this slide, and in their Tasks tab in MACPro. CMS will submit questions to the state via the Correspondence Log. I mentioned this feature earlier, but let's talk about it more now. The Correspondence Log, or the link to create one, is located on the package record. As I mentioned earlier, correspondence logs can apply to an entire package or just a specific RU. Supporting documents can be uploaded in the Correspondence Documents section. Both the state point of contact and CMS point of contact have the ability to create and edit correspondence logs. As the log is created, or when entries are added, each respective party is sent an email notification of what was entered. Additionally, when responding to entries in the correspondence log, you can reply to an existing entry to create a thread on the same topic. In the next slide, we will go into more detail and show a visual representation of the process for a state to respond to a clarification request. So first, CMS initiates the clarification, which returns the submission package to the state via a task in their task list. The state point of contact, or SPOC, receives an email that there is a task to respond to a clarification request in their task list. The SPOC then reads the correspondence log message from CMS. At this point, the SPOC determines if the package needs to be updated. If so, the SPOC responds to the CPOC in the correspondence log accordingly and updates the package. But if not, the SPOC responds to the questions in the correspondence log and does not modify the package. Once the clarification questions are resolved, the SPOC returns the submission package to CMS for continued review. And as a reminder, the clarification process does not stop the 90-day clock. So once the SPOC submits the state's response to the request for clarification, the package will return to CMS for continued review. The CPOC will receive a notification for a task initiating the review, letting them know that the state responded to their clarification request. So let's pause here for a brief interjection from our CMS representatives.
Thank you, Annie. So this is Jessica again, and throughout the presentation, like Sophia and even our presenters have really mentioned some enhancements that we've been able to add to the system that we only, can do by having the experience with the system. So every time we go in, we build a little bit more knowledge about how the system works. And this particular area, or these two particular areas of the correspondence log and clarification, are two that we've just enhanced, and we're actually really excited about the enhancement because we believe that these new enhancements to be able to communicate at the reviewable unit or RU level really helps us with both clarity in what we're asking for and where we might need changes in the submission, but also our transparency. So with the first piece, so with regard to clarity, so again, when the state submits a package to us, as was just described, that package package can have, a variety of reviewable units with it. And so now, with this recent enhancement that just launched last week, we are able to, instead of just sending a package back to the state to ask our questions, which are usually articulated in that correspondence log, that's what we use that for, we now can send back just the RUs that we need clarification on. So you can imagine for a package, if you have sent us a package that has, several RUs, this would really be a great benefit to both you and to us, so that we have, again, the ability to be very clear on what is needed for the state response and for us to move forward in the workflow. And so previous to this, we did have to send the package back. And again, although we use our correspondence log to ask the questions, we just believe that this enhancement is really going to help, will be a benefit to both of us. In terms of transparency, the correspondence log, again, is our added feature. It's sort of a substitute now for how we used to communicate. We used to communicate, just via email, hoping that we would each, as partners, capture our emails. So the state is capturing theirs, we're capturing ours. And now with the correspondence log, regardless of how we create it, either at the RU level or at the package level, what we have the benefit of now with the system is to have a shared log of all of our communication. So we have a shared record of all of our communication on each of these packages, which again increases our transparency because before, we really didn't have the ability to have a full compilation of all of the emails, and now we do. Because they're going to be saved with the final package in MACPro. This doesn't mean, however, that we won't communicate outside of the system. This is a question we've received before. We will still have, our regular touch points if we need to get on the phone to talk about something or to clarify what's in that correspondence log or what type of clarification we need per reviewable unit. We will still have those communications. So this is definitely not a substitute, but again, we hope that it is a benefit for us because, again, it is a shared record of all of our discussions and how we came to the decision on each of the packages. So I'll send it back to you now, Annie.
Thanks, Jessica. So CMS may also issue a request for additional information, also known as RAI, on the submission package. Like a clarification, this also sends the package back to the state. But do note that unlike clarifications, an RAI does stop the 90-day clock. Also, instead of responding through the correspondence log, there is an RAI form with CMS's questions and the state's answers. Some of the reasons for an RAI include needing more extensive information on a reviewable unit, pointing out major revisions, or addressing policy problems that were not resolved through an informal clarification. The SPOC is notified of the RAI through email, like the image on this slide, and in their Tasks tab in MACPro. In the next slide, we'll go into more detail and show a visual representation of the process for a state to respond to an RAI. So we start with the CMS point of contact initiating the RAI, which returns the submission package to the state. Then, the state point of contact receives the submission package and RAI form in their task list. At this point, the SPOC determines if the package needs to be updated based on the information asked in the RAI form. If so, the SPOC modifies the package accordingly and responds to the question within the RAI form. If not, the SPOC responds to the questions in the RAI form and does not modify the package. Once the RAI form and any modifications to the package are complete, the state point of contact returns the submission package and RAI form to CMS. A new 90-day clock begins at this point. Once a state has submitted their response to RAI to CMS, the CPOC will receive a notification to assign units to SRTs for the submission package, and the package will go through another review. We want to note that when this 90-day clock begins, it's often called the second clock by CMS. So before we finish up today's session, let's review additional resources and technical assistance available to MACPro users. So as I said earlier, on Medicaid.gov, you can find guidance to help you obtain MACPro access. The document EIDM Instructions for MACPro Users, linked on this slide, will provide detailed steps for registering an EIDM ID. The Introductory Reference Document, also known as IRD, for roles and administration, also linked on this slide, provides detailed descriptions of available MACPro roles, steps to request roles, and additional user management functionalities. For issues related to MACPro access and how to use the MACPro system, contact the MACPro help desk at macpro_helpdesk@cms.hhs.gov. Call 301-547-4688 or select the Request System Help link within MACPro. To help expedite an answer to your request, here's the information that should be provided in an email to the help desk. Your contact information, the program and authority you are using, such as MACPro Medicaid state plan eligibility. Give a detailed description of your request. If applicable, specify the last screen or activity that was performed before experiencing the issue, and include screenshots of the issue you are experiencing. So let's pass it to our CMS representatives to speak more to this slide.
Thanks, Annie. So this is Jessica again, and as a final comment for today's presentation, I did want to just really encourage our state users to utilize our MACPro help desk as your first point of contact for assistance. One, our help desk contractors they're very experienced with the system, so we're very confident that they will be able to help you work through the issues that you're having. And if for some reason the help that you need is sort of beyond the help desk, it's not technical, it might be something that CMS has to help you with. They are very good about routing the request to someone either in central office who could answer your question or a person in our regional office. So they do triage all the requests that come in, and not only do they triage it, but they also make sure that they track those requests until it's been fully responded to. So calling that help desk, you might not end up with the help desk as the person who helps you, but you will be properly routed. And one thing that I did want to highlight in this slide is the importance of sending those screenshots to us. It really helps to see exactly what you're seeing, so that we, or either us at CMS or our help desk contractors are really able to help you, because they can see, where you got stuck or where the problem exists in the system. So those were just my final comments, and of course, always would like to thank the help desk for all of their assistance. And I'll turn it back to you, Annie. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jessica. This slide outlines web browser versions, details, and software requirements for accessing MACPro, as well as web browser and software information related to using the print to PDF functionality within the system. Please note, Google Chrome is the optimal web browser for using MACPro, and Internet Explorer users must have version 11 to access the system. So now let's discuss next steps. First, if you have not done so already, please obtain an EIDM ID and request your appropriate EIDM role for access to MACPro. Once approved for MACPro access in EIDM, you may then log into MACPro to request your MACPro specific roles. Instructions on how to complete these steps can be found linked in the Additional Resources slide of this presentation. All right, so that's our presentation for today. Thank you all for your time, your participation, and the excellent questions that came in.
The MACPro Help Desk team welcomes your suggestions for our training and reference materials. Please contact us with your feedback and comments on this training, or if you need other MACPro assistance. You may contact us via email at macpro_helpdesk@cms.hhs.gov or by phone at 301-547-4688.